Okay, so I'm doing a video on changing the diff oil in the Tesla Model 3. So that's the oil required. I found that's the cheapest place I could find on the internet to get it from. It's ZF9 automatic transmission fluid, suitable for the Tesla Model 3 front and back diff. There's the oil filters. So these are male HC174. Other things you'll need is a pump to pump it up into the fill plug. Also got the little pucks for jacking, again from eBay, at £9 for the 4. Under tray already been removed. Bolts there from the under tray, fairly straightforward, and an old wash tub there for the old fluid. So onto the car itself, and you've got your little electric pump and filter, and then above that is the fill plug. Okay, so I'm on with the draining. I've took the filter off. Need grips to take the filter off. As you can see, the oil looks to be in fairly good condition. You can still see the colour of the oil. The clip has a safety clip that you need to sort of pop out, and then you squeeze the clip and that just comes away from the pump. I've took the 2 bolts out of the pump. The pump's on O-ring, so just be careful when you start prising that out. I'm going to try and sort of twist and prise it out gently. Okay, so what I've done is managed to prise the pump out slightly. You can see the gap there. So I did that by pry bar and a screwdriver, just applying light pressure on these tabs either side, trying to apply equal pressure, just gently, not forcing it, just kind of held the pressure on until the pump started to ease out. Obviously it's plastic, so I didn't want to break anything. It should now spin and just slide out. You can see now the pump's out, and I'm just waiting for it to drain off. Managed to spin it and just pull it out gently. Don't want to damage any of the O-rings. Just let that drain, and then pull the pump fully out. Obviously the bolts on the pump, they're not that tight, they're just snugged. Obviously it's all aluminium, so be careful not to force anything. So, no. Okay, so one thing I have noticed, doesn't look like you can actually take the pump fully out without dropping the motor and diff down. I'm not going to try and take it fully out. It's just going to take a bit longer to drain, as there's a bit of a restriction there. So I've got the new filter. I'll bob that on now. Obviously a little bit of oil on your O-ring on your filter, and just hand tight. The old filter I did need to get the grips on. You wouldn't have got this one off by hand anyway, so I'll just leave it to drain now. So that's the old Tesla filter on the right. Still looks clean, good condition. the new male filter. This car is a Model 3 long range, done 38,000. Does the oil need changing? It's just a precaution, you can make your own mind up. Just waiting for the remaining last bit of fluid to come out. Preventative maintenance for me. Can't be a bad thing. So I'm tightening these just a bit at a time to make sure it goes in nice and square. I don't want it nipping the O-ring. So that's it. Clip back in. Pump just nipped. New filter on. What I'm going to do now is just check how much fluid, just measure how much fluid's come out, just make sure it's near to how much should go in, and then we'll top it up. So that's the fluid tipped back into a measuring jug, and the manual says 1300 ml, and that's just about exactly what's come out. So we've got our 1300 ml of new ATF9 fluid to go in. I'm going to suck it from the measuring jug using this Duratec extraction stroke fill pump. It only takes 200 ml, but a few goes and we'll soon have it filled. I'm just going to give the under tray a quick clean off. It's full of grit and mud, bits and pieces. So I've got the under tray cleaned off. Final checks. Sump plug tightened up. New filter, no leaks. This is around the pump. No leaks. Electrical plug back in. What I did find is when I nearly got it filled up, put about a litre in, it started coming out of the drain plug. And I knew it needed some more because obviously we'd measured it. So I just thought it was probably down to the filter not filling up. So I put the plug in, cycled the car, turned it on, put it in drive and reverse, which probably kicked the pump in, I don't know for sure. That either way it dropped the fluid, so I managed to get the last sort of 200-300 ml in. Okay, so this is the rear drive pump unit in the Model 3 long range. See there's a gauze there stopping the big bits of metal or gears and teeth. Obviously you don't want any of that in there. This one looks pretty good. So just similar to the front, a bit more access. Filters off. That's the pump unit out. Just waiting for it to drain. That's the plug from the pump. So pull the red clip back and then squeeze it, pull it out. I've got the new filter ready to go on. And yeah, amazing how flat it is under here. And all the sort of aero to keep it flat around the suspension. Yeah, even the under tray for the motor is all sculpted around the suspension. Quite clever. Okay, so that's the rear drive unit, and That's the new filter fitted. Pump back in. Just drained the fluid out. So I got just shy of 2 litres. The manual says 2.1, so I assume there's a tiny bit still in there and whatever was in the filter. So I'm going to put the 2.1 litres back in and then check for leaks. And yeah, that's front and rear drive units. Oil changed. Just a reminder, that's the oil I used. ZF 9-speed. And the little plunger, as it goes without saying, grease all the nuts and bolts. They were quite tight, some of them ones at the front, certainly those ones into the steel brackets, and those ones were quite tight to get out. I would imagine they'll be quite tricky once the cars get a bit older if they're not greased up. Okay.